Hey there, welcome back to High Infidelity, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to channel for more spicy stories. Now, let's get into today's story video. I saw my wife cheating on me. I think I can't do much right now, and this may be a little lengthy, but I just wanted to get everything off my chest. I'm 38 male, and my wife is 35 female. We've been married for 10 years and have a lovely kid. We reside in an old building in an ancient neighborhood where everyone knows everyone else and everyone is quite nice. We've become friends with all of our neighbors since moving to this area. The nearest neighbors are an elderly couple, 74 male, 7 female, who reside in the flat next door. We normally hang out with each other since we don't have anybody near here and their children live outside of the nation. Every weekend, we bring them over for supper and stay up late. We go to church together every week, and we sometimes assist them with their duties. My wife and I both grew up without the affection of our parents. She lost her father when she was a youngster, and my parents separated, leaving me to be raised by my father. So they were similar to our parents. For years, we behaved as if we were a family. But in the past year, my wife has become a little more. Aside from demanding with me at any time and place, she dresses much more provocatively, even in front of relatives or my own father. She spends more time with her friends, and when she gets home, she simply me till she sleeps. I kept finding her and evidence of her throughout the home, which I warned her about, since we have a kid, and she is much too at ease in front of the elderly couple I described. I was surprised at first, but I was okay with it, since I knew the guy was like her father and treated her like his own daughter. I thought such a wonderful man of God would never look at my wife the wrong way, so I didn't really pay attention to them, no matter how provocatively my wife dressed in front of him and how near they got. Until a few months ago, when we went to the beach. When I went to fetch a towel from our vehicle, I saw him putting sunscreen on my wife. I couldn't say anything. My wife was too pious to even look at a guy. Is it true that a guy is now stroking her stomach? I waited a few moments to see whether it was simply a normal sunscreen application or anything more, and indeed, he was caressing her tummy in an odd manner and slowly creeping towards her breasts, and she was so calm that I interfered. He instantly backed off, believing I hadn't seen anything, and I was certain something was wrong. I became increasingly skeptical, and, not long ago, I arrived home from work on purpose, and as I had predicted, his shoes were there on our threshold. I unlocked the door so softly that I didn't even notice. My wife's groan greeted me as I entered the home. The bedroom door was partially open, and she was groaning so loudly that they didn't see me at all. I sneaked a glimpse, and there was my loyal, beautiful wife laying on our bed, and the nice and loving elderly guy, who I felt was like a father to me, was ***ing her. That's when I realized I shouldn't trust anybody again, so I pulled out my phone, recorded a brief video, and posted it to her Instagram, telling her I didn't want to see her when I came home, and then I left. I went directly to my daughter's school to pick her up so she wouldn't go home after school. I'm not sure why I felt terrified. We simply hung around till late at night, had supper at a restaurant, and I calmed down. Spending time with my daughter reminded me of how pure, precious, and wonderful she was, and why I adored her. And something is certainly wrong with her, since she would never do anything like that, so I resolved to solve the true issue and salvage my marriage. She hadn't received my messages, which surprised me, so I unsent them and returned home. When I arrived to the bedroom, I saw her come on the bed and the wall and felt upset again, but she grabbed me and moved my face to kiss her, so I wouldn't see her and me, which calmed me down. My marriage is now hanging on a thread. Anything relies on my attitude, and I'm too afraid to damage everything. Story 2. Wife of 7 years cheated. Now, she wants out of the marriage. We've been dating for 9 years. We have 4 little children and a new home. She is a stay-at-home mother, while I work full-time. I was aware of her infatuation for her best friend's spouse, but I foolishly assumed it was benign. In late November/early December, they began chatting secretly about having an emotional affair. In January, it got physical. She seemed distant in early January, and I confronted her about it. She said that she wasn't sure whether she still loved me or if she wanted to stay in the marriage. I accused her of having an affair, which she denied and seemed to be outraged by. She said that all she needed was some time apart from me and the kids to clear her mind. So I took up all tasks in the evenings while she went out to clean her thoughts, see him. I worked so hard to repair our marriage, but I was also skeptical. She was always on her phone. She wasn't paying attention to anything I was doing. Then she said that she had misspoken and was just bewildered. She said that she loved me and wanted to be with our family. I was overjoyed. I continued to put in additional effort around the home and with the children. I continued to give her room. Though I simply blew up one night. She never glanced at me. I was never appreciated for anything. She was usually on her phone. I told her I believed she still felt the same way and lied to her to make her feel less bad. She was deafeningly silent. The following night, we went out, and she revealed that she still didn't love me and didn't know what she wanted to do. I was a shambles. She slept in another room as I sobbed and read articles about what was going on. I was still dubious, but every time I brought it up, she behaved as though I was pushing her away even more. The date was 1/30. I phoned in ill to work because I wasn't emotional, prepared to deal with the weekend turmoil. She was kind to me and made it seem as though we could rebuild. She informed me that she would be heading to the gym with her closest buddy. Her closest buddy arrived about 30 minutes later with a treat for her. My wife had canceled on her and informed her that she was ill. We both knew right away. It took all day to piece together the past 2 months, and they both denied everything until we obtained the phone records. They didn't get home till late that evening. She revealed everything to me. She apologized half-heartedly and said she didn't know what to do from here, but we could try to figure it out. I requested to see her phone the following morning and she agreed. But she neglected to log off of WhatsApp. I saw they were texting I love yous as soon as they awoke. I blew it. I'd gone through so much up and down. She snatched the phone from my grasp before I could read it all, and we fought over it. I flung her on the bed, but she wouldn't let go, and finally she pulled it from my grip. I backed off. I had reached rock bottom. I went to my pastor and spoke with him. My wife returned home a few hours later and said that he had really stopped it with her. This time, she apologized really, with tears and feelings. We both sobbed, and I told her I needed to get this out of my system. She said that she didn't know whether it could be repaired. She's done much too much harm. We had been together constantly for 2 days. I had the impression that we were reuniting. We couldn't sleep or eat, so we went to our physicians to acquire antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. Last Thursday, I returned to work. She asked if I wanted to kiss her. When I departed, she responded, "I love you too." I had optimism since she was still an emotional disaster. She committed to notify me if any contact was made. She was the same when I came home. She was cheerful and effervescent. I knew she'd contacted me. She flatly rejected. She sobbed uncontrollably, declaring, "I'll never trust her." I didn't sleep because I was aware that something was wrong. On Friday, I contacted his wife, who verified that he was behaving strangely as well. I investigated his phone records and discovered that he had a new phone number. They chatted all day Thursday and Friday. I blocked his phone, but I'm sorry I played my hand. She began to push me away. She believes they were seeking closure since the episode ended suddenly. She agreed to enable location sharing and allow me to check her phone whenever I asked, but she has been pleading with me to let her leave since Friday. She's been nothing short of vile. I'm bringing up everything I've done wrong in our relationship. I know I wasn't perfect, neither was she at first, but the past 4 years have been fantastic for me. I know what you're thinking, cut and run. However, this is my second marriage. My first wife cheated and is now married to the guy who cheated on her. Divorce with children is difficult. I'd only see my daughter from my previous marriage about half of the time. I now have a stepbrother whom I raised, as well as 2 small children. I wish I could see them every day, and I still love my wife, and I feel that this is something from which we can both learn and develop. I believe her departure is a response to having to own her faults. She has nowhere to go and no place to work. It will wreak havoc on our children. I realize it's taken a long time to get here, but have any of you been cheated on and then sought to gain your spouse's love back to prevent them from leaving, despite the fact that it should be the opposite?